Zero to One was written by Peter Thiel, one of the founders of PayPal, alongside Elon Musk and four other individuals. This is a no bullshit type of book that gives you insight on how to build a monopoly. Here, we're not talking about the type of monopoly that does sketchy things to avoid competition. We're actually talking about the type of monopoly that is so good that nobody wants to compete with it, just like Google. So the first big idea that Thiel mentions is the idea of horizontal versus vertical progress. Horizontal progress, he says, is going from 1 to n. So doing something on a larger scale. Instead of producing 10 MacBooks, you're actually producing 10,000 now. In this scenario, you're not creating anything new. Vertical progress, on the other hand, is creating something of lasting value. It doesn't have to be a new technology or a new idea, but it has to be something that is new, that is brought into the market. So a new way of conducting business, or an assembly line, just like Henry Ford created back in 1918. The four big lessons that Thiel took from the dot-com crash in the early 2000s. Number one is to make incremental advance. Don't try to change a world overnight. If you think you can change a world, you should be a little more humble. You should start small and build. Number two, you should stay lean and flexible. I change, you change, the world changes. Don't assume a rigid structure, but always be ready to change and to adapt to different environments and scenarios. Number three, you should improve on the competition. Don't be just another guy in the market. If you don't bring anything new, there is no reason for me to buy from you than from the guy that's already there. Number four, you should always focus on product, not sales. In order to create lasting value, you need to have a very, very good product. You can probably find a salesman that's so good that he can sell a glass of water to a drowning man, but you'll never get anything accomplished in the long run with that type of mentality. If you want to create and capture lasting value, do not build an undifferentiated commodity business. You can have a carpet cleaning company and get by just fine, but you'll not create and capture lasting value, which is the key to going from 0 to 1. The characteristics of a monopoly are proprietary technology. Monopolies usually invent something new that is 10 times better than what is already in the market. If you create a cure for baldness or a pill that eliminates the need for sleep, you'll likely have a monopoly. Number two is network effects. Make the product more useful as more people use it, just like Facebook and Twitter. The more people that use it, the more useful Facebook is. But if you want to create something that has network effects, always start with a small market, just like Facebook did. Facebook started in Harvard and then it expanded accordingly. Number three is economies of scale. Your business should get stronger as it gets bigger. So the fixed cost of producing something gets spread out over the quantities of the sales. Number four, branding. In order to have a monopoly, you really need to have a strong brand. If you have a great company but people don't recognize you, then guess what? You're probably not going to create lasting value. You should be like Apple. The moment somebody says Apple, you think about great quality, nice design, very lean and flexible company. How to actually build a monopoly? Number one, you should start small and monopolize. It is much easier to dominate and test a small market. Facebook started with Harvard, Amazon started with books. You should start small too. Scaling up. Once you've dominated a small market, you should gradually expand into related and broader markets. Amazon started with books and then went on to CDs and videos. After dominating the book market. And the third idea that Thiel gives us is to not disrupt. What does this mean? It means that in the beginning, you shouldn't tackle the elephant in the room. You should gradually get stronger, and then you can compete with the big firms in the market. That's what Walmart did. Walmart started in small towns with smaller competitors until it was able to directly compete with Kmart. There are two concepts that you should keep in mind as you conduct business. Customer lifetime value, which is the value your customer brings to your company over the entire course of your relationship with this customer. And customer acquisition cost, which is the cost of acquiring a customer. So if you spend $10 on a marketing campaign and you acquire one customer, your customer acquisition cost is $10. Now, if this one customer spends $50 over the course of the entire relationship with your company, then your customer lifetime value is $50. As a basic rule of business, you should always ensure that your customer lifetime value is greater than your customer acquisition cost. So, two questions to keep in mind as you move on with your business. What valuable company is nobody building? And what will the world look like 10 and 20 years from now? And how will my business fit in? Remember, you don't have to create a brand new company that nobody has ever built. Coffee shops existed before Starbucks came into business. That doesn't mean that Starbucks is not a valuable company today. And if you want to create lasting value, you should always think of the long run. If you're in business and you only care about the short run, odds are you're likely not going to be in business in the next 30 or 40 years.